So first, I want to preface this video saying this is not an endorsement. This is not a good thing. This is not a victory lap. This is horrible for the game of basketball in general and for women's basketball. You hate seeing stuff like this. This isn't how you want to win if Kansas State were to win this next matchup. This is not the way. I'm just trying to say I'm not viewing this as a positive thing. This is strictly me applying the news and talking about it. With that being said, last night, JuJu Watkins had her ACL torn against Mississippi State about 4 or 5 minutes into the first quarter. She's going to have, I believe it's happening today, she's having season-ending surgery for that injury. So, obviously, that means she will not be playing against Kansas State in the Sweet 16, which has implications for that game, obviously, because Kansas State's playing in it. So, I just want to talk about this. We're just talking about it today. We're looking at it, and I want to look at how the Cats might look at this game differently now, for positive reasons and for negative reasons. Obviously, for Kansas State, your positives are JuJu Watkins is by far and away USC's best player. She's arguably the best player in women's college basketball right now. A generational talent, some are saying. Just looking at her stat line, she's averaging 24 points a game, 6.8 rebounds, 3.4 assists, two steals, 2 blocks, with a 42% field goal percentage, 43, I'll round up. And she leads the team in both assists and points, and also minutes. She plays 34 minutes per game. So, obviously, USC's best player is JuJu Watkins, so not having her obviously will shake things up. And again, if you're the Cats, I would view that as a positive. To look at the negatives, though, USC still destroyed Mississippi State. I mean, that game was not close. I believe it was about a 30-point win. USC is 30-3, even with one player down. That would move the needle, of course, but still, 30-3 is this team knows how to win, and they can figure out ways to win without their best player. So obviously, those are some of the negatives. Some other negatives is Kansas State now does not have as much film of this team without her playing. Obviously, she doesn't play about 6 minutes per game, but that probably doesn't amount to much. You get about 35 minutes of film against Mississippi State. But if the Cats were cooking up a game plan even before they got to the Sweet 16, which I would have to imagine that at least some of the assistant coaches might have been doing that, then obviously this is going to change things. You're going to have to, how do you play against this team without JuJu Watkins? And also, something I would like to note is that Kansas State plays pretty well into generational talent. Looking at Caitlin Clark specifically, the Cats went 2-1 against her in the past couple of years. The one of those wins was without Ayoka Lee as well. So I felt confident that this coaching staff could have figured out a way to shut JuJu down. They did the same thing with KU against Samaya Nichols, who obviously is KU's probably, I would consider her the star of that team. And they found a way to shut her down as well. They held her under 10 points, I believe, in both games. I apologize if that's incorrect, but off the top of the dome, I believe that's correct. This coaching staff is very good at playing into good talent and knowing how to shut the opponent's best player down. So I don't think that, of course, JuJu Watkins is a phenomenal player. She's outstanding. She would have done, I would think she would have done a lot of work against Kansas State. At the same time, I think Kansas State's coaches probably would have cooked up a good game plan to play into her. So I don't think if you're USC, it's not the end of the world, and the game also hasn't already been decided, if that makes sense. Because Kansas State now has less to look at. Of course, USC's out their star player, but K-State has less film to look at. If they did have a game plan for JuJu Watkins, they of course have to change this. And I mean, of course, USC is going to have to change their game plan too, right? That's the other thing that I probably should mention when I'm talking about Kansas State. Oh, poor Kansas State have to change their game plan. Well, USC is going to have to change it too. So it's not just Kansas State who's having to take the brunt of that, if you want to put it that way. But yeah, I want to talk about this. This has huge implications. Kansas State, obviously, both these teams are red hot right now. Kansas State coming off that win. Tamira Poindexter with the hot hand going 8 for 15 from the 3 line, which is just insane. I believe some interesting parallel I found was, I believe Tamira Poindexter and JuJu Watkins are the only 2 players who have made 6 3-pointers and 6 blocks in the same game. And they both did that this season, which is just crazy. In the last couple months specifically. I believe I saw a tweet about that. I'll of course throw it up here when I find it. So yeah, Taryn Sides kind of had a little more of a struggling game, which means maybe she'll have a breakout game. Maybe that means she's gonna have a legacy game here to make up for it. That's what you hope if you're Kansas State. The other thing I should talk about with this is there's of course parallels to this. It's not like Kansas State also hasn't had to play games without a star player. Of course, I'm talking about Ayoka Lee. Just this season, again, they had to do that same thing, and you know, it's just interesting. I guess this parallel of, well, Kansas State usually doesn't have to play with its star player. Well, now USC is not going to play with their star player, and Kansas State will. So a juxtaposition maybe is the right word. Just thought it was interesting. This all being said, I do think this helps Kansas State's chances immensely. And again, not that you want the asterisk on it, as I've said 3 or 4 times at this point in the video, but sometimes this is the kind of stuff that teams need to get through March Madness. I remember Kansas State was poised to play number 1 Virginia. What was it? Was that 2019? 5-6 years ago now? Jeez. They were gonna play number 1 Virginia, and sure enough, UMBC. Golly, my ball knowledge today. The Golden Retrievers. They end up winning as the first 1 seed to ever beat a 16 seed. And sure enough, Kansas State played in the most snooze fest game of all time. I think the total score was less than 100. But you know, sometimes stuff like this is what gets you through March Madness. And of course, I can't stress enough that you don't want this to be the way you win. But sometimes March Madness is a lot of luck. And sometimes you need a little bit of luck to get through the tournament. And I think if there's a time for Kansas State to march on to the Elite Eight, they have to capitalize on this opportunity. They need to figure out a game plan without JuJu in USC's lineup, and they need to figure out a way to get to a very scary, presumably it will be them, a very scary UConn team. So that's all my thoughts on this. I'm going to talk some more personal stuff here in the video, so if you're not interested in that, you can click off. Appreciate y'all watching, but I feel like it's necessary to talk about some personal things because I have not posted in a little while, and that's not a lack of trying or not wanting to. It's because I'm trying to figure some things out. I've taken a different role at the TV station, and this will affect like my Twitter and probably all my online presence. I'm not going to get too into what my position is, but if you can put 2 and 2 together, it does have to do with my coverage of teams in the area, which is why I'm talking about this now. So just putting it out there, because I want to be as transparent as I can be at the time being. Again, I'm not going to go too much into details because things have not been finalized yet, but you can expect things to look a little bit different on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube here too. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with my old videos. I might start doing KU videos. I might start doing Washburn videos. I might be doing Emporia State videos. And It will not just be, it more than likely, like 95% chance, not just be Kansas State videos moving forward, because I do want to give coverage to all the teams in the area. So that's what I'll say for now, and I'll of course talk more about it when it more becomes relevant and set in stone, but that's what I got. So thank you all very much for watching. I appreciate y'all. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Speaking of Washburn, if this video gets out in time, the Washburn men will play tonight at 8:30 in the Elite 8 round, and you can watch it on ESPN Plus. Recommend you doing it. Washburn has had a phenomenal season, and they're a really fun team to watch. So I recommend you giving them a try and checking them out. So, all right, that'll be all. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.